This past week, I tried to trade the pound USD in sell, as I talked about in my last weekly market outlook. As you can see, this trade idea ended up in break-even. So I will tell you why. Simple as that, we had a lot of headline back and forth between Trump administration and Iran. During the week, the first Trump state that he will hit Iran tonight, and a couple of hours later, he said the opposite. He canceled the strike. So you already know the taco phenomenon. The Trump always chicken out, as you have seen in the beginning of this year. So and then we had Iran, which denied the agreement. So a lot of back and forth again. This caused a lot of range in major dollar pairs specifically, and also you can see if I pull out the US oil, you can see oil start to drop. It seems like oil want to break this kind of resist support right there. So let's see at the opening. Let's see what will happen here, because Trump is stating that they are close to a deal. But as I always said, focus on the context. Don't focus on headline. Headline could cause a lot of noise in your head. So yes, just focus on the context. On the context, if I came back to the DXY, the context is clear. As long as we are not getting a true resolution of this conflict in the Middle East, yeah, the dollar will continue to getting a strength because of its safe haven character. So yeah, my bias is still unchanged. I want to continue to buy the dollar. Let's analyze the DXY first. But you can see the DXY is still in a bullish channel. On monthly time frame, you see we still have this demand which is holding price, as always said in my last weekly market outlook. On weekly, you see we're still in this range. So price close bearish because we kind of like reject again this level. You see, this level is a critical zone that we want to see price break before having a strong bias to the upside, maybe targeting this supply zone, but we are not there yet. It seems like we are rejecting this level again. Let's go down to the daily time frame. You can see this rejection. Yeah, you see clearly we are rejecting right now this level. So that's why I talk about in my last weekly market. Pay attention to this level. Let's see how price will react once we reach this zone. And you can see price rejects. So I'm glad that I was able to take a profit on this movement on the previous week and decide to get out of the trade, because I don't want to let the trade over a week. So I would really want to see what price will react there. But it seems like we are rejecting again this level. So let's go down to the 4-hour to see. We have some sort of channel. You can see this channel, and this trend 4-hour trend is forming. So my expectation for the next week is simple, is the same as I mentioned in my last weekly market outlook. I still want to see price return on discount zone where I can place my buy order, try to buy it again. Okay, but let's see if price holds around this level, or even we also have this zone right there where we can try to buy again. Okay, but I don't exclude the fact that we could potentially reject even lower, because looks what's happened in the past. Price reach this zone again, we reject even lower. You see, we reach there, we reject even lower. So that's why I said I will not exclude that we could potentially reject even further lower. So let's see how price will react right there. So right now I put a pause on buy position on dollar and see what will happen. Let price develop and see what will happen there. So yeah, the next one is EURUSD. EURUSD, as I say, long term I still want to see EURUSD drop because we are overbought right there. So this is my monthly time frame. We are bearish from this high to this low. We retrace in discount zone. So for me, it's very logic for me to see a bit of sell-off on this pair. Okay, so sell-off at least towards this level right there. Okay, on weekly time frame, what do we have? Weekly time frame, same story. We are bullish on weekly from this low to this high, but expect some sort of retracement at least towards a discount zone. Okay, let's go down to the daily. Daily, we are bearish. The structure is bearish from this high to this low. We have break this level. So this is some sort of structure. So we will trace around this zone, and then now we are forming a bearish order flow. Okay, So I still want to see a continuation of this bearish order flow at least towards this level, okay? But I need to see a strong dollar, okay? Let's go down to the 4 hour. On 4 hour, I mark up this level right there. So I want to see some rejection right there before continuation. But because I still have some doubt on the direction of the DXY is rejecting a resistance right now. So I will be very cautious here, but maybe I will not exclude that price will retrace even higher, maybe around this level or even higher. I still have this surprise on where we didn't test in the back in the weeks ago. So I will not exclude that we retrace even further before to see a huge sell-off to the downside. So I'm a little bit skeptic yeah on this pair because the DXY, I don't know what the DXY wants to do. So let's, as I said, let's the DXY develop and see if the idea of selling is still okay. But again, my direction is still bearish. I want to see some sell-off on this pair, but maybe not right there, maybe even higher because DXY is rejecting right now. So let's go down on 1 hour. 1 hour is a bit specific because we form some sort of demand right there, some sort of rebounds, forming some sort of demand right there. But I don't really trust this demand. But for people who want to buy Euro USD next week, maybe here could be a potential opportunity to try to buy because if we take the logic that we want to see some sort of retracement, so yeah, we could see some potentially buyer starting to buy right there to target at least this zone. Okay, but my scenario is the same. I want to see on long term a bearish continuation, but I need to see a strong dollar. Okay, that's my plan on Euro USD. Move on to the pound USD. So the pound USD, same story. We are bearish from this high to this low on monthly time frame. We are in discount in premium zone, excuse me. So expect a bit of sell-off on this pair, but we need a strong dollar. Let's go down to the weekly. Weekly, I'm bullish from this low to this high. So price is stuck in a premium zone. So yeah, expect a little bit of sell-off on this pair. Let's zoom in. Yeah, we close bullish last week, so maybe a continuation of the bulls towards this point of control from the last year, and maybe we could see some rejection again to the downside. That's pretty much what I see. I expect. Let's go down to the daily. On daily, when I zoom out, I'm still bullish compared to the Euro USD because the structure, I'm bullish from this low to this high. See how we break this high because we close above, we retrace towards the demand zone and we pump again. So when we zoom out, it seems like we are right now in a giant range. You see, this is some sort of range, so it's very difficult to spot a trend. But if I go for the principle that this is my daily order flow bullish, so this is the high, this is the low. Price is currently at the middle of this range. So yeah, not a bad spot to take a position. I rather prefer taking position on discount zone right there and selling on premium zone as we sell right there. You see, so price is actually located in the middle of this range. So yeah, not ideal to find a trend, a direction. But let's go down to the 4 hour. On 4 hours, when we don't have a specific trend on higher time frame, just focus on lower time frame. On lower time frame, what I see, we break this low, so some sort of trend. So I'm bearish from this high to this low. See how we retrace toward the premium zone before selling off, but right now it seems like we didn't break this low. You see, so this will be very nice to break this low last week, but we didn't. So that's make me a little bit nervous because I don't know, maybe this level is holding price and preparing price to reject even higher. So that's why I want to see a development, a lot of development on the XY before engaging in this price. Okay. So as I said in the beginning of the video, this is this past week I took a trade on pound USD somewhere here. So as I expect some retracement towards this supply zone and then wanted to see a sell-off targeting this low and this level, but we get a tweet of Trump in the end of the week, so which caused price return at my break even. So yeah, I didn't lose a trade, I didn't win either. So yeah, I was a break even. So that's why we need to very be cautious on this type of environment. Let's see what will happen at the opening for the next week. But my trade idea is still the same. Okay, I want to see a sell off on this pair, but I keep my eye on the dollar. If the dollar continue to weak, so I will not exclude that we could even break this supply zone, and maybe, who knows, maybe targeting this higher supply zone, and then here we could see a sell-off. So let's see what will happen. But I keep my trade idea the same. I want to see some signal, some strength coming from the dollar to be able for me to sell this pair. Okay, moving on Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar is, I think, is one of the major pair where I will focus, because we have a clean direction, because a clean trend. So we are bullish on weekly time frame from this low to this high. We see we break this high, so clearly we are bullish. So if I zoom in, as you can see, the Aussie retrace, as I said on my last weekly market outlook, towards this imbalance right there. So we observe a little bit of a bounce at the end of the week. We closed bullish last week, so very interesting, and maybe a good indication to see a high rebounds this week, maybe towards this level. Okay, so let's go down to the daily to see it clearly. This is the trend on daily time frame. So we are bullish from this low to this high. You see how we retrace perfectly towards discount zone. So for me, is very interesting to see a possible rebound, a bullish setup. Let's go down to 4 hour. On 4 hour, you see this is a channel which is forming right now. And if I pull out, for example, the RSI indicator, you can see we are pretty much overbought. We have some sort of divergence right there. So this divergence prove me, or help me to think that we could see some sort of reverse towards maybe around this price zone. Okay, so if I measure the last 4 hour structure from this high to this low, you can see, yeah, I will not exclude that we could reverse around or above the 50% mark of Fibonacci. I mean the premium zone somewhere here. So, and this is where, if, because I have a long-term bias on DXY, which is bullish on long term, this is maybe where we could see another sell-off on Aussie dollar. Okay, but for the next week, yeah, I expect some sort of maybe return right there, and a bullish momentum towards premium zone. Okay, but let's see. You can clearly see it on 1 hour time frame. So you can see on 1 hour, for example, we have some sort of demand which has formed right there, where we could potentially see a retrace. And if we retrace right there and see a signal in lower time frame, for me, this would be a nice opportunity to try to buy this pair. And remember, this will technically not be a counter trend, because we have a higher time frame bullish. If I go to the daily, remember, we have a higher time frame bullish, so buying here will not be a counter trend. Okay, so yeah, Aussie dollar will be in my watch list, for compared to the other major pair. This will be very interesting for me. Nice setup. So I will put it. So let me get the long tool somewhere here. Stop below or even lower, below the imbalance, and targeting this around this level. Yeah, yeah. This could potentially be my trade for the next week, before waiting the higher time frame uh, position, which is my favorite position I want to see on Aussie. Okay. The next one is Kiwi dollar. So on Kiwi dollar is very moving in sideways. Let's go down to the weekly. On weekly, I have this most recent structure. We break this low. Is this weekly leg from this high to this low? But you can see price never break the high, never break the low. We are still ranging. Okay, so that's what is annoying me in this pair. Let's go down to the daily. Even in daily, we don't have a clear trend, so we are ranging, so not very interesting. Let's go down to 4 hour, focus on lower time frame. We break this trend line, we kind of like have some sort of bearish order flow on 4 hour. So yeah, for the next week, if we continue to see a weakness on the dollar, we could potentially see some sort of retracement on Kiwi dollar, maybe around this 50% mark somewhere here, or even higher, where we have this imbalance right there. So yeah, for this week, I expect a retracement towards premium. On sell side, we still have some demand right there where we could potentially see price. If we see some strength on dollar, we could see another drop on dollar before retracing. This is a possibility. Okay, so yeah, very tricky this pair. Let's go down to 1 hour. It's not like the Aussie where we have a clean trend on daily time frame. On Kiwi is a bit tough, a bit difficult because we don't have a clear trend on higher time frame. So here I'm in 1 hour time frame where we have this structure. We barely break this low. I think we break it, but we have a strong rebounds here, leaving some sort of demand right there. So yeah, maybe wait a return right there to take a buy. This is a setup bet. Yeah, as I said, this is a pair I will not put in my watch list. I prefer trading Aussie because I have a clear structure on the Aussie pair, Aussie dollar. Okay, but yeah, I don't know what you want to do here, but let's price develop on this one. Okay, moving on. Moving on USD GPY. So on USD yen, the trend is still up. We have the monthly is bullish. You can see we are bullish. The I think the target will be these highs. Okay, so let's go down to the weekly. On weekly, we are still bullish. You can see the trend is still bullish. The next target will be this high. I think we already retest around this support. Very interesting. So for the next week, I expect a continuation to the upside. But remember, I think we have some interest rate decision from the Bank of Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go see the Forex calendar, the Forex factory calendar. You can see the most important news will be on Tuesday. You have the Bank of Japan interest rate. So yeah, I will position myself after this news because the Bank of Japan's already intervened. I will show you in a minute, but we also have the Aussie, very interesting, and you have inflation data on United Kingdom. Interesting. We also have interest rates this week on USD dollar. So yeah. So on daily time frame, what do we see? Daily, we are still bullish. We are still bullish. You can see. So we are not far away from taking this high. You can see. So I expect a new intervention from the Bank of Japan soon. So that's why I will stay away of this pair. Let's go down to 4 hour. Yeah, we have the Bank of Japan, which will intervene this week. We have Bank of Japan interest rate this week, so expecting a hiking rates. So yeah, I will stay away of this pair. So intervention could also being very volatile. You can see this move, this type of move we will see on yen pair. So yeah, don't try to anticipate it. At least for me, I don't want to anticipate it because I rather prefer the the storm past. Okay, some sort of sell-off intervention of the Bank of Japan, and then later, maybe next week, try to find a position in a discount price to have a better entry to continue the trend. Okay, so that's pretty much my plan. So let the storm pass and reevaluate the entry. That's what I want to do on this pair. Next one is USDCAD. So USDCAD, we are still in bullish mode from this low to this high on monthly time frame. See how the monthly candle keep pushing. It seems like we want to target this high. Okay, let's go down to the weekly. On weekly, we are still bullish from this low to this high. We still have this demand zone which is holding perfectly. You can see. So yeah, now price reached last week this supply zone. Very interesting. This will be another obstacle. So I will not be surprised if we see some sort of rejection because we are already in some sort of resistance. So let's go down to the daily. Daily, we are bullish from this low to this current high because it seems like we are forming a daily trend because we break above and close above this high. So yeah, very bullish on daily time frame. So for me, for the next week, what I want to see is because I will stop buying because we are not just we break this high, but we have this supply zone right there. So this will not be smart for me to try to continue to buy here. So what I want to see is some retracement in discount zone before continue the movement. Okay, you can clearly see it on 4 hour. This is the 4 structure. So I expect some retracement in discount zone and then find my setup right there. So yeah, that's my plan on USD cards. It's just a wait and see, on a waiting game, I would say. Okay. Next one is USDCHF. So USDCHF, we are bearish long term from this high to this low. Weekly time frame bearish from this high to this low. Look how we are pretty much oversold. So for me, I expect some sort of retracement because I think we are oversold on this time frame. Let me show you the RSI, which support my idea. Look how we form a divergence. You see, this is a divergence. That's another or an additional confirmation that we want to see some sort of reverse because price is oversold. Okay, so when I put it in perspective with the dollar, which is, I mean, I am bullish long term, this makes sense to try to buy USDCHF right there. So, but because we start to reject last week on the DXY. You know the resistance. We are rejecting the resistance on DXY. So, expect a little bit of weakness on this pair, maybe a retracement around this level or even lower before position myself again to buy this pair. Okay. Let's go down to the daily. On daily time frame, what do we see? We pretty much don't have a trend on daily because we are stuck in between this leg. Okay, we are stuck in a range. So for me, the best decision or the best trade will happen once we break this gray zone, which is the resistance, or aka the point of control from the last year, excuse me. Is the point of control from the last year. So it's a huge resistance that I need to be break before seeing price holding above the trend and then buy again. Okay, but another possibility to buy is with price because we don't want to buy at a resistance. Okay, we want to see some sort of retracement in discount zone to be able to buy again, because if we buy in discount zone, price reach again this resistance. Okay, we still have some room or time to put our stop to break even and protect ourselves, protect our trade to to getting stop out. Okay, so that's it. Let's go down to the 4 hour. 4 hour, I'm bullish. This is my structure, bullish from this low to this high. Yeah, expect some retracement around here or even lower before continue to buy. So, but a counter trade will be if we started to see a weakness on USD dollar, will be try to short around this supply zone to target the low. But this is the less probability trade. So yeah, I don't like this type of trade because I have the idea that in higher time frame, remember we are oversold, so I want to see some sort of reverse on higher time frame. So we have some kind of force that we push price to the upside. So selling here will be a counter trade for me. So what we need to see is maybe a break and close above this supply zone, then a hold, and then we could potentially buy. But yeah, for maybe for scalper or day trader will be interesting to sell, but we really need to see some sort of confirmation or some sort of signal to really we short it. If I really want to short it, I will short it, but with a signal in lower time frame and put my stop to break even as soon as I reach or one-to-one risk reward or something like that, and put my stop to break even, because this is a counter trade idea. Okay, if you get what I am telling. So, but my long-term trade is with price on discount zone and then try to buy it with the strength of the USD dollar. Okay. The next one is gold. So gold is taking a hit right now. So we are very bearish, excuse me, bearish momentum. Let's go down to the weekly. On weekly time frame, in longer term, we are still bullish, but we start to see a weakness on precious metals like gold and silver. We pretty much reached the extreme zone, which is this demand right there, where we react once and we came back again. You see that we reject again with this long week right there. A lot of buyer enter here at the end of the last week, so we could expect some sort of rebounds again. But in long term, for me, I'm still bearish. Why? Because we still have the inflation context and inflation forcing a lot of central banks to hike rates. You can see the European Central Bank hike their rates this week. So the projection, if you see the projection, originally the Bank of Japan project to hike rates because of inflation. The ECB, you see all the projection of those central banks is up. You see, this is not a good environment for precious metals. Bank of Canada up, ABA same thing. We want to raise interest rates, so this is not a good environment for precious metal. That's why I think in long term, I will expect a continuation to the downside. So let's go down to the daily. Daily, this is my structure on daily. You can see we are bearish from this high to this low. So because we we touch the extreme demand zone and it seems like we are rejecting this low, I think we could see next week some sort of rebounds on this pair. So we could see some sort of, if I pull out the Fibonacci tools, so expect some sort of retrace around 50% mark of Fibonacci or even higher, somewhere here, you see. And this is where we could see some sort of a continuation of this trend because the context is still there. We still have inflation, so at some point the seller will getting again on this instrument. Okay, so let's go down to the 4 hour. 4 hour, what do we have? We are still, the structure is still bearish, but as I said, we tap again on this demand zone, so we could potentially see some buyers getting on long term, because on long term want to see the gold continue to drop, maybe expect price return here, or even here reject this high, or even this high. This is a possibility. We reject this high, and then this is where we could potentially see a another huge sell-off. Okay, but for this week, I will more focus on buys, I think, with the help of the weakness of the dollar. Remember, dollar is rejecting the high of the range, so if I go down to the 1 hour, you can see this demand already formed. So same thing as Aussie, expect some retracement. If I see some retracement there and a signal in lower time frame, this will be a nice opportunity for me to buy. Okay, that's pretty much my plan on gold. And let's finish with silver. Silver is the same story as the gold. On higher time frame, weekly time frame, we are still bullish. You see, we are bullish on higher time frame, but we cannot deny that price, we are a lot of seller right there, and because of inflation, because of hiking rates from central banks, this is which is not the good environment for precious metals. Long term, I want to see the silver drop as the gold. I want to see, like the gold, I want to see to drop. Okay, so let's go down to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, you can see we are bearish. Clearly, this is the structure. The structure is bearish. Okay, because we are in a interesting level, some sort of support. We see how we closed bullish last week, so I would not exclude that we could see some sort of rebounds off of this demand or support, maybe towards this level right there, before continuation to the downside, targeting at the end this demand zone right there. Okay, so you can clearly see it on 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame, this is the structure on 4 hour time frame. We break this level, so yeah, if I take my Fibonacci tools, you can see we could expect some buying pressure at least coming towards this 50%, even higher, because I think we have a lot of imbalance right there where price could potentially target to. So yeah, a lot of room for buyers, I think. So again, this week I will also focus on buy, maybe some sort of retrace to have a better position to start to buy. Okay, you can see it clearly also on 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour we have some imbalance. We have a huge push leaving some sort of demand right there. So a return of price towards this zone will be a nice position to find a buying setup. Okay, yeah, I will find a buy. I will try to buy these metals with the weakness of the dollar. If I see a weakness of the dollar, I will try to buy it. So I will put in my watch list, I think Aussie will be very interesting. The Aussie dollar, very interesting to buy this week. I have the gold and also have the silver that I will put in my watch list. So it doesn't mean that I will not look other pairs, but I will more focus on these three. I think this is where we have a better price. I have a better comprehension of what's happening in the chart and fundamentally. So that's it. This is the end of the video. If you like this type of video or this type of outlook, give a like, subscribe to the channel. This will help me know that you really appreciate my content. So have a good trading week and be careful on the market. It was Josue, the part-time trader. I'm out.